Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another lovely episode of And Rolling. Woo! Let's give it up for And Rolling. Yeah. Okay. Maddie, what did we see today?
We saw Wuthering Heights.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. You want to give us a recap? Or how do you want to do this?
I mean, I can. I'm not doing it without
Notes?
like Wikipedia.
Yeah, pull it up
Well,
if you want me to.
I just think that the opening that Wikipedia has is quite striking.
Well, if the opening's good, then.
In 1771, a man is publicly hanged. His suffering and visible erection send spectators, including Catherine Earnshaw and her paid companion Nellie Dean, a lord's illegitimate daughter, into an ecstatic frenzy. Which is true.
That does happen. That does indeed happen. That's the scary part.
So, yeah, we open to black, really, and you just hear like these like, and it seems very clear at first that you're about to like witness a sex scene of some sort, and then twist, it's someone hanging.
Whoa!
It was crazy. Yeah, subverting one expectation, I suppose. So Catherine and her family, which is just her dad in the movie, live in the moors in the north of England. So it's just really desolate. And he's an alcoholic. He comes back home the day of the hanging and brings like an urchin from Liverpool who he has adopted, for lack of a better word. But like, it sounds like in this version, Heathcliff's father sold him to this dude, to Kathy's dad. And so Kathy names him Heathcliff after her dead brother, and he becomes her pet later. Oh, there's pet play later, so it's like a...
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
And they become like close friends, kind of shut Nellie out, and like at one point, Heathcliff takes a beating for her. Just really in the early bits solidifying that like
because the father is like incredibly abusive. Like, yeah,
from the father. They're really close and like they have a very strong relationship. So then suddenly it's aged, I guess, according to Wikipedia, it's 6 years later.
That's 6 years later?
Which is crazy because you jump from like a child to Margot Robbie.
Yeah, like a full-grown woman.
Like 6 years later, Wuthering Heights has fallen into disrepair because Kathy's dad is a drunk and a gambler. That's when a set of new neighbors moves into the estate close by, and it's a man in his ward, which is like essentially adopted child, but like less formal.
Yeah.
That's kind of the obligation that you have to them. And he's made his money in the velvet industry, so new money, and she considers trying to like pursue him because he's rich. But she's also there's a lot of chemistry or like, I don't know, tension between her and adult Heathcliff, who's played by Jacob Elordi. She goes to spy on them and she ends up like scaring the girl Isabella and like twisting her ankle. So she stays there for 6 weeks because this is ye olden times and a sprained ankle was like the equivalent of, I don't know, like car crash injuries.
Which is also crazy because it's 5 miles away. It's not even that far.
And Heathcliff wants to go and bring her back immediately. Very funny. Very like Jane Bennett.
Yeah.
Going to Mr. Bingley's. So when she comes back, she looks for Heathcliff, but he's like upset with her. So they fight. And then that night she goes to his room, which is above the stables, to like make up. But as she's about to do that, she catches the two servants, Joseph and Zillah, and they're like in a BDSM relationship.
Yeah.
And also a bit of like pet play, like he puts the horse's bridle on her. And this seems to be like Kathy's first foray into sex, which is just crazy. And she's about to like make a startled noise when Heathcliff like clamps his hand around her mouth and eyes, and then like he like holds her down as they watch this. Well, he watches because he's covered her eyes, and then she runs away. And then the next day, like kind of can't look, is like clearly looking at things differently. Heathcliff comes into the room and she like runs out and he follows her, but she's found like a hiding spot on the moors and is like touching herself. And he sees, and she is so mortified, but he follows her and he makes an attempt at like initiating something. He like sucks her fingers. And she runs away. And then when she gets home, Mr. Edgar Linton is there to propose to her. And we don't see what happens, but she runs then to Nellie, who's still her companion, and says that she's accepted him but feels really conflicted. Nellie sees that Heathcliff is coming and she's like, well, why do you feel conflicted? And she's like, well, because of Heathcliff. It would degrade me to marry him. And then Heathcliff hears that and leaves because he's upset. And then she says, whatever, like, there's a very famous line, whatever our souls are made of, his and mine are the same.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just like, I love him. And so you see Heathcliff getting on a horse and riding away because he's so upset. But then you also see her the next day going to Linton to say that she won't marry him, but she's stopped by everyone and then finds out that Heathcliff has left. So she does end up getting married. She puts it off for a little bit, but she does get married. And she makes a home at Linton, whatever their house is.
Yeah.
The Grange.
Sure.
And she meets Isabella, and Isabella is this like nerdy but very sweet but very intense young woman.
Mm-hmm.
She's really likes ribbons and she does hair art stuff like that.
Yeah.
She's a little intense.
She's weird.
And they seem okay. She seems happy with her new life, at least the lifestyle portion. She likes Edgar well enough.
Yeah, it's chill.
But she goes back to visit her father, who has let Wuthering Heights just fall into like complete disarray. And it's nasty, really gross. And he's dismissed all of the female help. So the
only servant left is Joseph.
Yeah, and he's fighting an uphill battle.
Yeah.
And at the same time, her dad is so drunk. Like, he looks yellow. His liver is failing. It's bad. And so she's really upset by their interaction. She runs back and Edgar's like, you don't ever have to go there again. Like, just let it be. And she goes, yeah, you're right. There's nothing there for me.
Yep.
In 1782, Kathy is pregnant with Edgar's child. And at that moment in time, like, she's just informed him of that when she gets a signal that Heathcliff has returned.
Which are some eggs in a bed.
Yeah, there's a bit earlier where she gets back at him for something by putting eggs in his bed, and then he like fingers the egg yolks, and it honestly
is weird,
so uncomfortable.
I was like, what are we doing?
Like, I know you're hearing that, and if you haven't seen it, you're like, I can conceptualize what that looks like. And then you see it, and then you're like, oh God. It's really off-putting. So anyway, he slips into her room before anyone knows that he's back and puts eggs in her bed. So then she gets the same, like, crunch. So she goes out to look for him and doesn't find him immediately. So she goes to Wuthering Heights and finds him there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Am I right with that?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. There's like some ruins next to the heights.
Yeah. And he's become a gentleman. He's well kept. Well kept. He's rich. Somehow. He's got a little earring.
And a gold tooth.
Yeah, because he had a missing tooth earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So it says here, rather than being happy to see Kathy, he's bitter and angry over her decision to marry Edgar and considers marrying Isabella to make Kathy jealous. Although that's like kind of throughout the thing.
Yeah.
They're happy to see each other, but he gets invited over to dinner and like is pretty standoffish at dinner, and like there's negative tension between him and Kathy. Isabella's quite taken with him, and Edgar is clearly like, what the fuck's this guy's deal? Like,
yeah, he's never heard of
really
this guy.
Rude. And so they like kind of start up again their relationship a little bit, their friendship. But it really gets kicked into gear when Catherine's father dies and she rushes to Wuthering Heights. Oh, and at the dinner, it's revealed that he Heathcliff has bought Wuthering Heights.
Yeah.
So he now owns her childhood home. So she rushes there to see her father, and she doesn't make it in time. He's dead. And in that moment, she leaves, and it's raining, and Heathcliff comes after her, and they stop where they waited when they were children, and they confess their love. He's like, why do you feel like it would degrade you to be with me? And she's like, that's not all I said. You didn't hear the rest of it, which is that I loved you. I tried to call off the wedding, but you had disappeared. Why did you leave? And they begin an affair.
Mm-hmm.
So they like, not quietly either. I mean, like,
no, not quietly
secretly.
at all.
They're at her father's funeral, and the grave diggers are working on his grave, and they're like making out behind a rock. And I'm like, everyone's there
behind a rock, right in front of the grave.
Yeah,
digger.
I'm like,
like the grave diggers are in frame, like clearly visible.
Right, and then like they catch up together out on the moors, which like, okay, whatever. We don't. I have social anxiety about that kind of thing. It couldn't ever be me. But then they also meet up in a carriage, and I'm like, someone is driving the carriage, and it's probably someone employed by Edgar Linton. Like, what is happening here?
Right.
And then like he sneaks into her room, which is right across the hall from Edgar's room. Like, again, what? Okay, my unbothered queen and king, I guess.
Just so weird, dude.
So when she realizes that when she realizes that Ellen knew that Heathcliff was listening and didn't like tell her, and that's why Heathcliff left in the first place, she tries to dismiss Ellen.
Ellen is Nellie, by the way.
Oh yeah,
everyone.
Sorry. They are the same character. And so Nellie's like, the fuck you will, and she goes to Edgar and essentially tells him that they're having an affair, but you don't really see that bit.
Yeah.
And so he's like, you need to stop hanging around with Heathcliff. Like, I think we're done. But he does it in this very like innuendo-y kind of way, but makes it clear that he knows. And so she doesn't meet up with Heathcliff when she's supposed to, and he's very upset, and he throws a rock at their window, which I'm like, yo, that's crazy.
Yeah.
She goes out, and he's like, where were you? And he's really mad. And he finds out through that whole series of events that she's pregnant, and then he breaks into their house and is like, is it mine? She's like, no, it's not. And he's like, well, were you worried about telling me? Because actually that only makes it better for me. Like, I would like that even more in some ways. And then he starts talking about how he would kill Edgar, and that is like too far for her.
Which is crazy because there's a lot of... Yeah, keep going.
We'll get into it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
But she calls it off. He gets really upset. He sneaks into Isabella's room and like, it takes her to get married. Like she goes with him, but there's this horrible scene where he's like, I won't ever love you. I'm going to think of Kathy the whole time I'm with you. I will treat you terribly. Do you still want me to do this? And she's like, yes. And so, Kathy is really distraught when she finds this out. Heathcliff has Isabella send Kathy many love letters and like letters about how horribly he's treating her. But Nellie intercepts them and burns all of them. She goes to visit Isabella at one point and finds Isabella chained up like a dog and tries to get Isabella to come home, but Isabella won't. This is something that they are into together, her and Heathcliff. And yeah, it's also interesting. We'll get into it again later, but it's interesting because the first letter, you don't know that she's written it with a specific aim. Like, it's this horrible, like, oh, he's a monster, he's terrible to me. And then there's a conversation between the two of them where she's like, well, honestly, I thought that I wrote it to where it was something that they would feel like they had to respond to. Like, I thought I made it grotesque enough. And he's like, well, clearly you need to do better. So it's in some ways a game that they're playing, this letter, the first one that you hear. Nellie is really harsh with Catherine because she won't get out of bed. And this goes on for like, it seems like weeks, if not months. And at a certain point, she looks at Catherine's legs and finds that she is septicemic, which I don't know that word, but
I think it's when the child goes into sepsis is what I was gathering through context clues. Like the child when the woman is pregnant and the child goes into sepsis and it spreads to the woman.
Yeah, that's not what's happening in the Wikipedia page, but it is crazy. And it's definitely because the child died.
Yeah.
But it's actually kind of plague.
Okay, cool. Gotcha. Whatever.
Crazy.
Great.
So she is dying, and so while that's happening, Nellie goes and rescues Isabella and reveals to Heathcliff that Kathy's dying. He rides out on horseback, only to find that when he arrives that she's already died. So he holds her dead body and begs her to drive him mad. It's like you've left me, so haunt me. Like, stay with me forever, drive me crazy, like, never leave me, don't go somewhere I can't find you. And so that's like where we leave off with their story, but then it cuts back to the night that he takes the beating for her, and she comes to see him, and how he tells her that he loves her, and she pretends not to hear, but does. And that's the movie.
That's the whole movie.
And let's just get this out right off the bat. We did not enjoy ourselves.
So
we got done with this, and the group that we saw it with was like, oh, well, my eyeballs have been in pain. It was just like a really hard watch. I was like watching through my hands at certain points. You know what I mean? Like, it was painful.
There was a lot of cringe in this movie.
Yeah, and like, just, I don't know, it was both sluttier than I thought and also not as slutty as I thought it was going to be. Like, what I thought that we were going to get like full on sex scenes, which we got like montages, but then we also got a lot of kink, which I just wasn't necessarily expecting.
I don't know what I was expecting with this movie, but it wasn't that. As someone who hasn't read the book, I was not and the way that this was marketed, where they were like, it's gonna be like romance. It's not that at all.
I've been seeing some tweets of people being like, releasing Wuthering Heights on Valentine's Day is like releasing Frankenstein on Father's Day.
No, literally.
It's and let me just preface by saying the characters that you saw on screen are a million times worse in the book.
Yeah.
Whatever you're seeing, imagine worse.
Which is crazy, because there's nothing honestly morally redeemable really about any of them, in my opinion.
No. I mean, Ellen is Nellie, but Ellen isn't so outwardly heinous in the book.
Oh, yeah.
But I just don't like her as a narrator in the book. She's very judgy, and I am like, all right, we get it. All right. In the movie, she's like an antagonist.
No, she's like actively ruining these people's lives, in my opinion.
Right. Okay. I thought that the little boy who played young Heathcliff looked familiar. He's the little boy from Adolescence, the TV show.
Oh.
I thought he looked really familiar.
Okay.
I did like him.
There you go. Cool.
Sorry, what did you say?
I said, where do you want to start? What do you want to do?
Where to start?
I know we have this game thing that you have planned.
Yeah. That'll be later.
That's later. Okay. Spoiler for everyone.
I mean, so I guess like backstory, I'm sure everyone knows this, but Wuthering Heights is based on a novel by Emily Brontë. The novel, when it came out in the Victorian era, was not well received. And that's because all of the characters in it are horrible, evil. I mean, not evil, but like horrible, in a lot of ways unredeemable characters, like Kathy, Heathcliff. There's several that are left out of the movie. But the movie is very unlike the book. Like, a lot has been changed.
I want to say this because, like, not that people shouldn't quote unquote compare things, but like, for some reason, this movie, everyone's like, it's not like the book. It's not like the book. And my attitude is, I'm like, neither is Frozen. Frozen is based off the Ice Queen by Hans Christian Andersen, but yet no one compares it to that, even though it's nothing like it. And no one's like, well, that's a terrible adaptation, but it's a good movie. This is on its own merit shit. Like, that's what I don't think people understand. Like, this, I have not read the book.
Right.
This movie is bad on its own merit, regardless of origin.
I think the other thing to say is that I didn't like the book either. But I dislike
Sure.
them for totally different reasons. Like, I think that you could have maybe made this adaptation in a way that I did like it. Because it really changed the focus. The focus of Wuthering Heights is not a love story in the book. It's actually like a very toxic, like, they're not portrayed as redeemable through love. It's portrayed as, like, I don't know, a really toxic relationship.
Yeah.
And this one, they did want to focus more on this, like, love story. There's a whole second half of the book that doesn't make it into the movie.
No.
So, I mean, take that with whatever you want, like a grain of salt, because I didn't like the book. I don't like the characters. It's just not for me.
This is where I'm landing with this movie is I actually think that the acting was fine. The problem is the script is bad. The directing is bad. The visuals are bizarre.
I was going to say,
at the least,
the whole direction that this movie took was bizarre. Yeah, like bizarre is the best word for it. Because, yeah, the acting is good. Margot Robbie is so miscast.
She's miscast not for her acting ability, but because of, like you're saying, like the age discrepancy.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit earlier, so I haven't actually brought that up here. But
yeah,
in like, Catherine is supposed to be younger, especially in the beginning of the movie. When we first see Margot Robbie, she's supposed to be like a teenager, and she does not look like a teenager. And a lot of times, I think it's fine. It doesn't really impact the plot. But when the plot in this movie is so much about dynamic, like interpersonal dynamic, you can't erase the impact that age has on these types of dynamics. And so it's her in comparison with and in relation to Jacob Elordi. And it just very much feels like she's older than him, which impacts the relationship that Kathy and Heathcliff have, where it's no longer like, it's not necessarily that they grew up together, they're so entwined. It becomes more of a like sibling, like they should feel more like siblings because there is that age difference.
Yeah.
And when you're thinking about his feelings for her, if she's older than him and he comes there and she's kind to him, it takes on like a very like young adoration instead of this intense relationship of peers where age isn't a factor. It's race, it's class. Those are the factors.
Mm-hmm. I think, well, yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. I also think from a visual standpoint, like, so, you know, like they bring up the years and everything. The years don't matter in this movie. Like this movie, the fact that Wikipedia even mentions a year is hilarious to me because like I could not tell you when this movie was placed because it doesn't matter, I don't think, with the director. And if it does matter to the director, she needs to do a better job.
Everything, like the textures in this movie are very like out of time and out of step with where this is supposed to take place. Like you have her bedroom wallpaper is some sort of like, it looks almost like latex. It's squishy, but it looks like her skin.
I need to tell, apparently those are actual scans of her face.
I know.
Okay.
I know, that broke a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, which is crazy. That's so weird.
But then there's also like cellophane. Her costuming is very like plasticky.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to later because I want to deep dive on that one. But just there's a lot of things that don't fit a realistic period drama.
No, and
but they don't go full in to commit to everyone being out of time because other people are more in sync. It's not consistent.
No. And like Wuthering Heights is like the place is a real, I describe this as like a Tim Burton-esque kind of vibe with this place. It's like between two rocks and like there's a stone archway and then 2 wooden buildings. It's bizarre. It's
Yeah,
It's a
the architecture
strange-
is. I was curious if that was like a typical thing because that's not how I envisioned it at all.
no, because that's not a typical thing. That's not typical at all. I can tell you that right now.
Well, I just mean typical for that area.
No, not at all. This is a made-up artistic choice that she's making. Like, and it looks cool, but
It's very imposing.
yeah,
And I did read somewhere today that like the sets were made to feel unsettling. I think for the most part they are.
yeah. I mean, they are. I suppose
Their house is weird, like the nice house at the Grange.
Yeah,
That place is freaky.
yeah.
It's very bare.
It is very bare.
This is one of those movies where it's almost like everything that I could say that has a positive has a negative too. Like there's
Yeah.
an equal,
Yes.
there's a greater negative, but everything positive is negated by something. So,
100%.
for example, like the performances were, I felt actually pretty okay, like pretty good.
Mhm.
I like Margot Robbie. Is it Robbie or Robbie? I'm not sure.
It's Robbie.
Whatever.
That's how you say it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I like Margot Robbie. I like Jacob Elordi. I didn't really have an opinion on him until Frankenstein, but now I like him.
Yeah.
And I liked the supporting cast. But at the same time, Emerald Fennell, the director, cast people of color in these roles that then weren't given any good attributes. Like, so in the book, Heathcliff is described as like being dark skinned and dark hair, dark eyes, and then described as, quote, a gypsy. And so people have taken that to mean that he's like South Asian or like African descent. He's a person of color. And so they cast white Jacob Elordi, but then they cast Linton, who is meant to kind of be this parallel of every kind of what you want out of the beauty standard at that time. Blonde, whatever, you know. They cast him as a person of color. And then Nellie, who is turned into a much more overt antagonist than in the book, is also cast as a person of color. So it just feels very that's uncomfy. That doesn't feel good. That doesn't feel
Well, like I said, this
correct.
movie has nothing to do with the book at all. Besides
right.
names,
But that
there's
just feels like an intentionally racist choice to like take out the racial aspect of the book. The fact that like race plays a big part of all of this, but then to take it out and then to insert it in this other way, or to like even say that's colorblind casting, it just feels nefarious.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. From my understanding, the book has like commentaries on racism and stuff. This movie has nothing to do with racism.
No,
at all.
This movie decided that class was the only thing that mattered.
I would even then argue that class is barely talked about in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's
There's no, in my opinion, with this movie, one of the reasons it sucks is because the only consistent theme, quote unquote, is like death. That's the consistent theme.
I think it's like misery.
Sure. I guess.
They're all miserable. Except for Isabella. Isabella's off having her kicks.
Yeah.
Which was crazy.
Right. And even then, like, they're not strong and they don't tell you anything about anyone, really, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's very superficial. For this book that, you know, hate it or love it, there's a lot to dig into in the source material and in other adaptations. Like, there's just a lot to unpack because these characters are complex. And this one's just made it very superficial.
Yeah, like, I mean, like, I have nothing to compare it to, so
And
I'm just, like...
On top of that, the visuals are bizarre. I mean, like, there are some things that I liked, but a lot of things just were... It felt very shock value. Like, that's what they were going for.
Yeah, the visuals are very shock value. Like, when Kathy's dad dies...
Oh, yeah.
He's the mountain of bottles. Like, what is that?
There's a whole thing. There's this very famous art installation, and it's candy, and it's piled into this corner. It's kind of spilling out onto itself, and you are kind of meant to like take it, and it replenishes, and it's representative of the HIV/AIDS crisis. But that's what it made me think of. It was just stacked up to the ceiling, these green bottles. It was such a break from like the rest of what was going on. It was so comical that I almost like laughed out loud, screamed.
There were a lot
theater.
of unintentional funny parts in this movie, as far as I'm concerned.
Funny.
Where it's like and the thing is, it's not like you're laughing because it's funny. It's like I'm actively laughing at them.
Or like I'm so uncomfortable, it just kind of shot out of me.
Like I'm making fun of them. It's funny because it's so dumb. It like, and it's not like Dumb and Dumber dumb. It's like truly, why would you think of this?
It's like listening to a 13-year-old who thinks they have something deep to say.
Yes.
That was
That's
what it felt
it
like.
is.
Where you're like, all right.
Right.
Okay.
No, it's just dumb. On its own merit, this movie is bad. Regardless of source material, regardless of anything, this movie is shit.
But the thing that was kind of annoying to me is I thought that like while watching it, I'd maybe get like rage baited and I'd be like so irate, like I'd have a bunch to say, and I don't even feel like I have that much to say. Like it was just bad, and what else do you want me to say?
I think you said this earlier where you were like, this movie is actually really boring.
Yes. No, it is.
Yeah.
It's really boring, punctuated with moments that are so hard to watch that I had to like grip my seat because you're seeing
Keep going.
You're seeing like him finger egg yolks or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, or like I'm trying to think now, or like I can't think of anything. I mean, like the dog collar scene. That was crazy.
Yeah, the dog collar scene, you're like, what the hell? And, well, and this is the thing, that's the thing that's so weird about that scene, is it's like, Heathcliff's a brute, blah, 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 blah. And this is where the characters, this is where the writing is just bad, is Kathy's like, Heathcliff is a brute, he's awful. At no point was that established, ever was that established. She just says it, and then he's like, and then he basically plays into that to like try and manipulate Kathy to come see him later on, because him and Isabella actually don't have a bad relationship.
And that is like, I really thought that they were going to go balls to the wall, make him evil to Isabella. And Isabella had been set up as like a character that she's a little intense, but she's lovable. She was the only one that I was like, I liked Linton in this. He's very gentle, very kind, kind of like,
yeah,
you know, if you weren't in love with somebody, he'd be a good person to be married to in that time period.
Which is basically what she says.
Yeah. And I think up until Heathcliff returns, she's okay with her life. But Isabella was very like sweet. She's very young in the first couple scenes where you see her. Mm-hmm. But then yeah, in the book, he torments her. He torments her to the point where she leaves him, which is unheard of in this time period. She takes her, because she's got an unborn child, and she leaves and goes to London and raises him there for 13 years to keep him away from Heathcliff, because she's so beaten and downtrodden and abused that she doesn't trust that he'll like be nice
Isabella.
To the baby.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so, and like to that end, what I had heard going in, right, because there's this scene right when they get married where he hangs her dog, because that's like a precursor for how their relationship's gonna go. He's like giving her a taste of what it's gonna be like. And then I knew that happened in the book, and then what I had heard was that he then made her act like a dog. And so I was thinking this was going to be this horrible moment of like trauma and humiliation, degradation, you know, because he's killed her little dog and now making her act like a dog. And instead it was this like consensual kink moment.
Yeah.
Which like, sure, that's empowering Isabella, which is great. Like I'd much rather her be into it than not. But at the same time, it negates the like absolutely ruthless cruelty of Heathcliff that makes him such a complex character.
I also I like on top of the like you mentioned this when he sneaks into Isabella's room and he's like, I'm gonna treat you like shit. Do you want me to stop? And she's like, no, keep going. I'm like, this is where little puritanical Matthew's gonna come out. That's problematic. I'm sorry. That's problematic. I don't care if you have a kink about that. That's a problem. Abuse in any form, whether it's consensual or not, is bad. Sorry. That's my take. Sue me. You know? Like that was really cringy, concerning, and actually completely frightening.
No, I was
on
like,
my end.
it
I was like,
horrifying.
Whoa, that's not good
that.
at all. Like, that's not good at all. Like,
and the fact that they tried to make that like a steamy scene, he's like dripping wet. It's his Mr. Darcy in a white shirt.
Yeah. No, this is like, I'm going to get on my little soapbox here. Like, if there's like any sort of sexual relationship of any type where it's like, well, he cuts me, guess what? You're in an abusive relationship and you need to leave. That's it. Done. And if you're doing that, you need to stop. Sorry. And you know what? If that's not a hot take. That should not be a hot take at all.
There's a lot to go into there about like the amping up of violence against women because of the 50 Shades of it all, and the like people who aren't super educated into kink getting into kink and then just hurting people.
Right.
There's a lot to of course, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Right.
I do want to like change slightly about that scene though, and just say that him being that wet, it looked fake. It looked like he had gel.
Because of the rain. Yeah.
It looked like he was wet with gel and not water. Do you know what I mean?
He might have been because of the bizarre stylistic choices in this movie.
But I was like, I know it rains a lot up there. But that entire movie, that entire shoot, he had to be so cold. He was wet all the time. And like no other character was wet the way he was wet.
Yes.
And I in that moment, my disbelief was not suspended because I was so concerned about the actor Jacob Elordi being wet and cold this whole shoot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just funny. And then, of course, I'm like brought back into the scene by the absolutely heinous things he's saying to her.
It's the thing that's yeah.
Like, what is there to say though? This is what I'm getting at, where it's like it was boring with the exception of these like stark, painful moments.
Well, I want to. So we're going to talk about the costume stuff now because it just makes sense. The only thing that's like a consistent quote unquote theme is death, in my opinion, which is bizarre as well. I think bizarre is a great way to just phrase this movie, but she's like Kathy is consistently wearing something with like red spots or a red line or something like that. Like that's her entire costuming throughout this movie.
I saw a like post today showing parallels to that with Gone with the Wind, the movie with Vivian Leigh.
Okay. And
that is what they based the poster off of. And if that's what they were going for, that's a crazy take to like make a Wuthering Heights that's trying to be the same as even just saying it's weird.
No, it doesn't make sense. But the only consistent theme with like death and like literally 5 minutes into the movie, she's always like, I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to die. Blah, 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 blah. And also I have to talk about these children too. Sorry, I'm going on a little bit of a tangent, but like she's constantly wearing red, and I was like, is the red supposed to represent like blood and death? And then at the end when her child dies, it's like red down, like
she's lost all of her blood.
She's lost all of her blood.
She's lost all of her blood and the doctor's blood.
And she's covered in leeches and everything, and I'm like, oh, it was supposed to represent death. Like, it's the most on-the-nose thing that anyone with a brain cell can figure out in like 5 seconds, and it's not deep. And the other thing, the child actors, this is let me say this really quick. I cannot, in public, generally speaking, unless the child is having like a complete meltdown, I really don't care if kids like scream and stuff. Like they're children, they have fun, it's everything. But whenever I hear it in movies and it's like amplified, it irritates the shit out of me. I can't stand it. And Kathy is constantly meh, 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 all the time. And it drives me crazy. There's that movie with, I think it's the girl who plays Captain Marvel. Is it Brie Larson? And called Room, not The Room, but Room.
Yes.
Where it's like the child abductee and the kid. I hate that movie. And it's mostly because the kid's like, meh, 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 the whole time. And I'm like, shut up. I'm like, dude, it's so annoying because children don't act like that in real life. They just don't. And it's like, well, children are supposed to be annoying. They're supposed to be annoying. I'm like, you just don't care for anything. Sorry. Like, that's my take on it. Oh.
I didn't mind the boy, as I said earlier, especially finding out that he's from adolescence. I loved him in that. And it makes sense. I think he's a really good actor. The girl playing Kathy, I did not buy her. Either she had like iPhone face or just something wasn't there.
Too Gen Alpha for you?
Oh, and speaking of iPhone face, I found Margot Robbie's lip liner to be very distracting. She had very like lined lips, lined eyes, maybe not eyes, but like lined eyebrows. Like she was just, her makeup was makeuping in a way that was noticeable to me. But to move on to the costumes, I felt like the costumes were strange and it made me feel like I was watching a weird Barbie sequel where Barbie was acting out Wuthering Heights. Kind of in like the way that Barbie in like the animated movies, like Barbie takes on like the role of Clara in the Nutcracker and the role of Odette. This was live action Barbie taking on Kathy in Wuthering Heights because all of the costumes looked plastic and they had like really weird silhouettes for the time. Like her necklines were really low. Once she gets rich, she's wearing this like insane jewelry that looks tacky. And
it's weird.
I don't get it. There. Anyway, what I have done, and this is our first ever like prop segment. I've made a list of 10 of her costumes, and we're gonna rank them.
Oh,
so
God.
you'll rank and I'll rank. So the first option that we have is her like poor girl Kathy, which really looks like a dirndl from Germany.
Yeah, she looks like a Bavarian like beer girl during Oktoberfest.
And we'll post this on our Instagram.
So you can play
see,
along.
Yeah.
Get on Instagram and
but
play
our
along.
options are poor girl Kathy with the red corset. Wait, don't start yet. We're going through.
Okay.
And then her weird cellophane nightgown. And then you have like her post-married white dress with like red leaves on it. And then you have the dress from when she tells Isabella that Heathcliff would eat her up, which is white with a kind of looks like Katniss Everdeen from Catching Fire with her cowl.
Yeah.
There's like a weird Russian hat winter dress. There's like a and this doesn't really show in the printing because it's a home printer, but this is like her New Year's Eve outfit. She's got like a star makeup pattern on her eye. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
Okay, let me text that one to you. And then the next one is her black, looks like latex dress from when Heathcliff smashes the window in her house. The next one is her wedding dress, where her neckline is like down to her belly button. And then you have her little Red Riding Hood outfit. And then you have one of her happy montage before Heathcliff returns, where she's wearing all white with these little red sunglasses. Okay, so we're just going through and ranking them 1 through 10. Right off the bat, I know that the dress where she looks like Katniss Everdeen, that's my number 1.
Are we ranking? Are we like gonna rank these individually and then discuss it, or?
Yeah, this is just fun.
Okay.
Like, what's your number one?
My number one is actually her wedding dress.
Really?
I like the flowing. I thought that was a really good shot.
Yeah, that is a really good shot.
And I know that took over a lot of the trailers for marketing, and I think that there's a reason for that. It's because it was probably the coolest shot in the film.
Yeah, fully.
You know?
And to that end, that was going to be my number two. As a wedding dress for the time period, terrible. But when you look at the rest of her outfits, it gets a lot better.
Yeah. What was your number one again?
My number one was the Katniss Everdeen cowl. And actually, I thought that I had 11 pictures, and then when I went to go do this, I realized I only had 10. But I'm realizing now that's because one didn't come over. And the one that didn't come over is her red skirt, white Temu-looking, sheen-looking shirt. And that was going to be my least favorite, so whatever. What's your number two?
My number two is the Red Riding Hood.
Okay.
I just thought it looked cool. I don't understand the cross.
Yeah, I really
There's
didn't
a lot of
like
crosses
the cross
in this, and I don't understand why.
Yeah.
Like, why are there so many crosses? And I feel like, this is my thing. It feels like where people like today, like they wear, like they're not religious, but they wear crosses because it's like a jewelry thing now. That's the vibe I was getting from this.
Where do you get that T-shaped necklace?
Right,
a cross?
exactly.
A cross from where?
Yeah.
Okay, my three is the dress with the strawberry party with the little red sunglasses, and it's purely because of the red sunglasses.
Really? That's
my three.
Wow, I hated that.
I just thought that was like vibey.
I thought that was a little John Lennon-y.
I know, and I thought it was funny, so I'm putting it as 3.
Okay, yeah, if you thought it was, I was like, this is, what the hell
No,
is
I thought
this?
it was funny, and like, yeah.
Yeah.
Your 3?
My 3 is the Katniss Everdeen one. With the leaves.
Yeah.
I thought that one was good.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I think my 4. So what's funny is her New Year's Eve dress, like that one at the top, right? I like it for me. I hate it for her.
It's the makeup that's weird.
It is. The makeup is super, super weird, and also just like hate the dress on this character. Like, not on Margot Robbie. Don't get it twisted. Like, she's beautiful in all of these, but for the character.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna put that as 4, even though just know that like that is the one dress that I think I personally would wear. I'm gonna do the little Russian hat, because again, I just was like Barbie doll.
Yeah.
It made me think of those holiday Barbies.
For 4, I have the black one.
Okay.
It's just different.
I didn't like the texture of that dress.
I know you don't. I know.
Yeah, looked terrible.
Yeah.
Painful.
Doesn't bother me.
Okay, for 5, I'm going to do Little Red Riding Hood.
For my 5, I'm doing whatever the like the 4th one down on the left side is.
That's the Katniss Everdeen.
What's the one above it? That's my 3.
Oh. The red, like she's just married.
The just married one above it, that's my 3. The one down below is my 5.
Oh. Why did you think 3 looked like Katniss Everdeen?
Because it's like she's on fire when she spins.
Oh, okay, no, but I was talking about catching fire with her hunting cowl.
Oh.
You know what? Whatever.
Gotcha.
So the things that I don't like about the 3 and the one at the top right, the New Year's Eve, I don't like the bodice on her. It looks really cheap, in my opinion. So for that reason, okay, I am going to do the top, the New Year's Eve one. I'm going to make that my 6.
My 6 is Russian.
Okay.
Yeah.
My 7 is going to be the black.
Okay. My 7 is Oktoberfest.
That's fair.
So
I really don't like that bodice on her. Like, I just don't like that bodice. It feels very German. So I'm going to do the Catching Fire dress as my 8.
Okay. And then my 8 is the New Year's one at the top right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the German one is 9.
My 9 is John Lennon.
Okay. And then 10 for both of us is the weird cellophane nightgown.
Bizarre, dude. Absolutely bizarre.
Yay, we did it.
Bizarre stuff. Did not understand it at all.
That it like so strange.
I want to transition us a little bit, talk about the soundtrack.
Yeah, done by Charlie XCX. I described it as like what an off-brand Soul Cycle would have going on.
The song that you might have seen on TikTok, the I think I'm gonna die in this house. That's apparently for this movie, you said?
Yeah, I found that out today that was like written for this movie, which was shocking because when I heard it in the movie, I was almost...
No, I thought it was hilarious.
I was laughing, yeah.
Yeah. It was really funny. And once again, it's about like death for some reason. I don't understand why that's a constant thing coming up in this movie.
I don't know why you're so fixated on why that's a problem. Like, people died.
No, but why is it a theme in the movie? Why is she so fixated on it? Like,
I don't know. I felt like the opening was just such a weird thing too. Like, I thought we were gonna at the opening when she's kind of gleeful about the hanging, I was like, oh, this is gonna be like an exploration into how girlhood can be despicable, like little girls can be morbid, kind of again like what I talked about last time with Dracula, the macabre feminine. And then that like never comes to fruition. Like, I thought she was gonna be a little psychopath and then grow up to be like a adolescent psychopath, and then that just never happened.
No, it doesn't happen at all. Doesn't happen at all. And
which I thought would have been more interesting, truthfully, if it really had leaned into the like Heathcliff and Kathy are like, yeah, kind of psychotic.
Yeah.
And they match each other's freak.
Right. This is one of those instances where I would want to sit down with the director and just be like, why? What's your thinking?
I really liked Promising Young Woman by her.
Mm-hmm.
But the more movies she puts out, the less compelled I am to like watch them, and the less I think that they're good.
She did Saltburn as well.
She did Saltburn, which I was so on that movie.
Yeah, and I haven't really seen it. I kept falling in and out of sleep watching it. But like that, from what I saw with that movie had a more interesting take on like class and sexuality.
Yes. Yeah.
And like interesting topics about that. This is just incoherent.
Right. I was going to say, like, you can't really get a message out of this one.
No.
I mean, Promising Young Woman has such a strong message, and I think that's why it worked. She was doing a lot of stuff that was very, like, shock value for sure. And, like, twisting and turning, but it clearly was for a reason, and that didn't get lost, and everything that happened was, like, in service of the reason.
Yeah.
And I felt like the shock value stuff really worked with that theme. But this like I'm losing it. I'm not seeing what she's seeing.
No, I'm not. That's why I'm like, my main question to her is just why? Why would you do this? Why would you do
now?
that?
Why this sperm?
No, literally. Just so many questions. So many questions, but not like good questions of like philosophically or anything, just truly like, why'd you make that decision? Because I wouldn't have made that decision at all.
The world may never know.
Right. It just really strange and made me question, honestly, like, having not really seen any of her work before, it makes me question her competence as like a director. Where I'm like, if you're given a script, how well can you make this movie?
I really think, like, if you were to watch Promising Young Woman now, you would not believe that they're by the same person.
I'm sure I wouldn't. Like, it's very...
Just so much about it felt, like, clumpy.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about our rankings? Because I think that'll spur some conversation a little bit.
What rankings?
Like our rating.
Our rating.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So my whole thought process for this was the acting's not bad. It's well produced. The sets are kind of interesting. And
They
like
are, and we don't spend enough in them.
Yeah, and the costuming is interesting, be it strange, And I was like, oh man, maybe like I was like, this is my thought process was initially was like, I want to rate this a 3. But then I was like, but it's kind of well made. And like, maybe it's a 4. But then I was like, is this only marginally worse than what I would rank for Dracula? And I'm like, no, it's not. This movie is not marginally worse. It's significantly worse. So I would rank it a 3. I can't go lower because the acting is decent. There's enough work from other people in this movie that I can see it coming through. So I'm like, it's a 3 for me. I don't think it's a 2. It's definitely not a 1.
You and I are spot on.
Mm-hmm.
I was going in being like, I'm afraid this might be a 1 for me, or 1 or a 2. I think it's definitely in the 2 to 4 range. There are things that are down to 2s, and there are things that are up to 4s. So I was like, I'm going to even it out and say a 3.
Yeah.
And I just, in general, I'm actually like, as you were talking, I was like, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Interesting.
Like,
okay.
We're dead on.
Wow.
Yeah.
We should get married or something.
Whoa. Actually, I'm going to marry someone else. You come back in 5 years.
Yeah. After I become rich somehow.
I'll get pregnant. We'll have an illicit affair.
Yeah.
Sold.
Yeah, exactly. This movie, like you said, it's like, what do you say about this movie? And what is there to say?
I mean, Jacob Elordi is hot.
Only after he comes back, though.
No, he's hot before. Margot Robbie is beautiful and also hot, and like she's really pulling it through in spite of many odds against her. You know what I mean? Like a testament to her that it isn't worse than it is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I found something very unsettling about like the color grading of this movie. Her eyes and just, again, like her makeup, it looked different in a way of like heightening that she was wearing makeup, if that makes sense.
Sure. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. There was something there where I was looking at her and I was like, something's giving like the Miley Cyrus blue-eyed meme. Yeah.
And also I talked to Maddie about so when like as soon as the movie got out, I was the one like when I was like, what did people think of the book when this movie came out? And she was like, they hated it. And I'm like, yeah, I can see why. I think I'd hate the book. I don't think there's anything that they're saying that is like,
as I said to our friends,
effective.
When you start to make me think that Mr. Rochester doesn't seem so bad, we're in dangerous territory. Right. Mr. Rochester kept his wife locked up in an attic, and then she died when the house caught on fire. And he was going to marry Jane Eyre, even though he was already married. Like, he had conned her into getting married to him without telling her that their marriage wasn't going to be valid. Do you know what I mean? And yet, I'm over here being like, well, yeah, he's not Heathcliff. Mm-hmm. How horrible are you that I'm like, well, Mr. Rochester's not looking too bad in comparison. It's crazy.
Well, and I've read like a summary on Wikipedia, like the thing talking about like childhood trauma and like that lingering on and being passed down to like generational trauma, not in here at all. Like literally not present as far as I'm concerned. I saw a TikTok comment that I thought was really spot on, actually, about this movie, which was that lust isn't romance. And that's what this movie is, lustful, as far as I'm concerned. Like,
this movie is for sinners.
Well, no, there's nothing like.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Like, as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing really redeemable that anyone does in this movie. Like really at all. like time period framing, quote unquote, even though there's no time period in this movie, like, or not.
Something that one of our friends said was that she hates to see a woman yearning.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's so true. And just again, like, what a comparison with Dracula to this movie, where you have Dracula like going literally to the ends of the earth to find Elisabetta, and instead here it's like they're supposed to be so in sync and like the same soul, but they can't even like be honest with each other. None of this would have happened if they had just been honest. Oh, and this is what I told you this earlier, but plot wise, I hated the ending when it flashes back to them being kids. And we were with a bunch of people yesterday, and someone was like, "Oh, I just wish they would have done that in chronological order and then like had it be like a little throwback and not literally shown us an extra part of the scene later on." And I actually just think that they shouldn't have shown the extra part of the scene at all, because it shows Heathcliff as a boy telling Kathy that he loves her forever and will always love her. And so it negates this whole like miscommunication and or like an inability to communicate, where she doesn't think he, like, you go through the whole movie being like, oh, she doesn't realize that like I guess it's an open secret that he loves her, but they won't say it to each other. So they're like those friends who you're like, just date already, but they won't do it because they're afraid of rejection or whatever. And I don't know, it just felt like it really undermined the whole basis of the plot.
Yeah, I also kind of like I kind of don't buy the relationship in the movie either, because like, you're seriously telling me that Heathcliff has traveled the world, quote unquote, because he came across this money somehow. He has traveled the world and hasn't fallen in love or like become smitten with another woman. Like, as far as I'm concerned, Kathy is the woman that he fell in love with, because he has a choice of like her or Nellie is basically it. And like, there's only like 5 people who live in this, on like maybe within like 50 miles of them, it seems, you know?
Well, and that's the other part that I kept being like, you know, what's crazy about all of this is like, the option to leave is always there. They're acting like there's nowhere else to go. Heathcliff, so when they're having this affair and he starts being like, I could kill him. First of all, I was already like, you guys could just poison him and like, no one will no one will know.
No one will know.
Like, this is, you know, not that I'm saying like kill him, but like, truthfully, if you wanted to get like in a dark romance, that's what they would do.
Right.
But also, even if you don't want to do that, which makes sense, because like, why would you? He's a nice guy, Edgar.
Sure.
You could run away to London. You could run away to the continent. He's got money. Heathcliff has money. No one knows that they're there. They're up in the middle of nowhere in northern England. Do you know how little people in London think about the north of England, especially at that time? They're never going to know that they're not.
No.
Like, no. And if it does follow you to London, pack up, go to Spain, go to France.
Right.
No one will care in France.
No, they literally
and
won't.
Like, what's keeping you there? Her dad's dead. He has no family.
Right.
Like, what is... It's so bizarre to me that, like, again, like, the logical option of, like, we could just run away. What? Anyway.
Yeah, I just don't know. I honestly am not entirely sure why this movie was made, in my opinion. Like, you know, where it's like, oh, like, art needs to have inherent value and everything like that. Mm-hmm. I don't, like, truly, I'm like, why was this made? We, like, before we started, we were talking about Moana 2, where it's like we hated Moana 2, and this might be like the same thing where we're like shitting on it and everything. Moana 2 at least was like made to make money, you know, like that was its value. This movie, it's like, are we trying to make money? Who are we making this movie for? Like,
oh, I think we know who they're making the movie for.
Who?
It's the dark romance book talk girlies.
I guess.
That is who we're making it for.
Okay. Cool. I don't even think they liked it based off the stuff I've seen.
I don't know. I've been seeing a couple people being like, I really liked it. And I'm like, how? Ugh.
It's
Gouge
a
my
poorly
eyeballs
made
out.
movie. Like, it's poorly made.
Imagine Dracula with this budget.
No, literally. Literally. I don't think this movie is going to have a long run in the theaters at all.
I mean, we can only hope.
I mean, I'm serious. I could easily see after opening weekend this thing dropping off like a rock. I mean, but this is, we were talking about this though. It's like, what else is coming out? And if someone's like, let's go to the movies, what are you going to go see?
I think also the allure of Jacob Elordi is strong among the book talk girls.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, overall, I wouldn't buy a ticket. I would, if you have to watch it, I would wait until it's out
I wouldn't watch it.
Streaming. But yeah, I also just wouldn't watch it.
It's not worth your time. There's much better movies out there. There's much better pieces of media. An hour on TikTok, the runtime of this movie, the 2 hours and 15 minutes on TikTok is a more productive intake of media than watching this film.
Yeah, and like what's crazy is they don't even get into the whole like Heathcliff being haunted. Like he does end up going crazy, and then he torments her daughter and his son and her nephew, and then he also like at one point bribes one of the gravedigger to break off part of her coffin so that when he's buried, he can be buried with a part of his coffin missing, so they can be like no barriers between them in death. Like he's doing some insane shit, which of course like you can just imagine the like goth girls from 95 being insane for that, like feral for that kind of crazy behavior, you know what I mean? But they don't even include that. It's just really watered down, but then also not, because you got like the Isabella of it all.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, like what do you say to that?
Like,
Yeah.
like
fully.
Like that's my response. Like, yeah.
It was a movie.
It was a movie. So,
and I'm ready to be done talking about it.
That's fine with me. Yeah, save your money, don't go see it. It's literally not worth your time. There you go.
Send us your rankings for her outfits. We want to see them.
Yeah, send us your rankings for your rankings for her outfits. Let us know what's the best movie that you've seen that's an adaptation of the book that was nothing like the book. Does that question make sense?
That would be Ella Enchanted.
Really?
Yes.
Nothing like the book.
Absolutely nothing like the book.
But a great movie.
Great movie.
There you go. Apparently it's Ella Enchanted. If you disagree with that, let us know. Or if you agree with us, let us know. I need to know. So, mine, you know what? Two times brought up. The Planet of the Apes is
absolute cinema.
Absolute cinema. Well, like the original one is really nothing like the book at all. So,
I did see something that Emerald Fennel is Greta Gerwig's Wario.
What do you mean?
Like Mario and Wario?
Yeah.
Greta Gerwig would be Mario and Emerald Fennel is Wario.
That's true. That's really okay. I get what you're saying. That's true.
And that made me laugh so hard. It's like, yeah, that's fair. And which would like in turn make Carey Mulligan Saoirse Ronan's Wario, and would make Jacob Elordi Timothy Chalamet's Wario.
Facts, dude.
And the Timmy and Jacob thing, I can see them being like in some ways opposites of each other, because what's weird is like when you see video of Jacob Elordi like talking about his interests, he's very cerebral, or at least he's like putting himself out there to be very cerebral. And then but he's doing projects like Euphoria, and
he's in Euphoria?
Yeah. And
talk
like
about
the Kissing
talk
Booth.
about a TV show that I've never seen.
The Kissing Booth. And then like, yeah, you get Frankenstein now, and like Saltburn, and now this, which I guess are more serious, but I wouldn't consider this to be serious. And then on the flip side, you have Timothée Chalamet, who's doing like, and starting to start with like these really serious roles, and is now kind of morphing into more of the like absurd, bizarre, bad, funny. So they are kind of like meeting in the middle, but coming at it from like, I don't know, there's a trajectory there that feels inverted.
Well, and like bringing it back to another recent thing that we talked about, like this, like Marty Supreme,
Christmas Day Marty Supreme.
But so you could argue that this movie is a like downfall movie in the same way that Marty Supreme is a downfall movie, you know, where it's like, oh, it just keeps getting worse and worse for these people and everything. Marty Supreme's substantially better.
I was gonna say, at least Marty Supreme, the stakes are like super high and raised in a way where there's no obvious choice out. Again, they could escape to the continent with no problem. Heathcliff disappeared in this movie for 5 years and amassed a fortune. You're telling me they couldn't just bebop out of there? Get real.
The other thing is, I think that this is really where, like, Marty Supreme is grounded.
Yes.
And this movie isn't.
Right.
This movie is like actually this movie is sand, and it's like slowly crumbling every single
Even
moment.
the relationships between the characters doesn't feel grounded, because like her and Ellen have this back and forth, but then at the end she like forgives Ellen in a way that feels like totally out of left field. And it's like, but weren't you guys kind of enemies this whole time, like frenemies? And then now you're like, it's okay, you didn't believe me that my baby inside of me died, and now I'm septic. Like,
yeah. Also, why is Nellie, talking about age discrepancies and stuff, why is Nellie like 60? You know what I mean? Like, she is old in this movie.
Well, and what's funny is Nellie in the book is like just a nursemaid or whatever. Yeah. She's not a companion. So at first, I did not realize that was Nellie, because she's not supposed to be the same age as Catherine. So I don't know. I do not know.
It's just weird. It's weird, and honestly, like, I think that, and I think the person who played Nellie, whoever that is, weakest acting in the entire movie, as far as I'm concerned. Like, adult Nellie.
Really?
Oh my God. I thought she was one note and just really bland and boring, and none of her line delivery was interesting.
I felt like that was the direction.
Yeah, well, once again, this is a time where I'm like, want to sit down with the director and be like, why? What was the direction that you were giving these people? Why did you choose this outfit? What made you decide on this?
On that note, I've been seeing interviews with Emerald Fennell, and she sounds like, there's this crazy lady on TikTok who talks like this, old money. I'll tell you all about old money.
Yeah.
And that's how Emerald Fennell sounds in real life.
Really?
There is something about the way that she talks that makes me think of this like weird, clearly fake person who claims to know everything about old money aesthetic and what is and what isn't old money. And it almost feels like she's putting it on. Like, it feels like a joke. You know, like, or like an Anna, who was the scammer girl? Anna Delphi or whatever her name is.
The scammer girl.
Yeah, there's like a whole TV show about her, and then she's on Dancing with the Stars. She went to jail.
Oh, are you talking about with the fashion industry thing?
Yeah.
Is that her?
Well, yeah, but she's like German. She kept being like, the money is coming.
Yeah.
Whatever her name was.
I know who you're talking about.
It feels like that. It feels like she's putting on this like fake accent, but like making it a really weird one.
Yeah.
Layers. There's layers here. I can't unpack them all.
I don't think there's layers. I actually think we're looking at the whole thing.
No. I meant to her as a person.
Oh, to her as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you meant this movie. I was like, no, I actually think this is a blank piece of paper and we're looking at it. Like,
yeah.
It's very one-dimensional as far as I'm concerned.
Is it even one-dimensional?
Does it even have dimension is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good... This is going to sound bad, but like a movie, like, so like a 2 movie for me would be like The Room. Like Tommy Wiseau's The Room. Like that's a 2.
Yeah, and then on the enjoyment factor, it's like up at a 9.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
So funny.
Because it's really funny. But like even
hi, Mock.
Even the themes in The Room, even though they're bad.
Well, it's official.
I definitely have breast cancer or whatever she says. Yeah.
Then it's never brought up again.
Yeah. But the themes, however loose and weak they are in that movie, are deeper than this. It's just a poorly made film. Like that's the difference. It's a poorly made film and a really bad script.
A poorly made film made by a madman. Like, let's not discount the like absolutely psycho creator and how his mythos plays into the script and the story and the filming of it. Like,
no, I agree.
We cannot discount him. Right.
And this movie is a poorly made film with a I shouldn't say poorly made. It is a semi-competently made film. Like there's someone who knows there's people along the way who know what they're doing enough to restrain the director as far as I'm concerned.
It feels like if you did all of these things in a different order, you could come up with something that was good. I think that's what it feels like. It feels like you have a good hand, but you're not laying the cards out right.
I tell you who saved this movie. Whoever the cinematographer was in this movie saved this film.
The cinematography was actually quite stunning.
They saved this movie. That's the only reason, as far as I'm concerned, that this movie...
this feels like a Hollywood thing.
Yes. That's the only reason.
To that end, I say, like, the costumes, they aren't... They look cheap to me. They look poorly. Like, they look like Temu. But I feel like, again, if you could have just done it differently... There's nothing about the, like, concept or the colors or, well, with the exception of the cellophane nightie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think all of this could have been done in a way that made it really pop in a positive way.
I feel like... this is, like, I think that it all comes back to the director. Like, the director is the leader and the captain and is leading everything. And, like, I think that the costumers really didn't do a bad job. I think that, like you're saying, like, on its own, it's pretty good. I think that the makeup was good. I think that...
Well, minus the lip lining. I think, though, that my thing is with the costuming, I'm sure it wasn't cheap. It just, the materials used made it look cheap. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to besmirch any of the costumers. I'm sure you guys are, like, incredibly talented people, like, and sewers and all of that. But, like, whatever... the overarching decision was on fabric choices, it made it look weird.
Yeah. Yeah. No, hear me out, kind of bizarre analogy. Maybe we'll keep this in, maybe we won't. But this movie is kind of like SpaceX a little bit to me. Crazy leader at the top who doesn't know what they're doing, but competent people who actually know what they're doing below them.
Enough to keep it in the running.
Enough to keep it in the running and keep it successful. Like, there's talented engineers who work at SpaceX, you know?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about this film. And, like, there's weird things that happen, and the execution doesn't always work because of leadership. Not because anyone isn't talented down the line, you know? That's kind of how I feel about it.
I can agree with that. I totally can. And I think, again, like, I had... not again. Like, I think maybe we talked about this beforehand, but there's been a lot of chatter about how this is how Emerald Fennell conceptualized Wuthering Heights when she first read it as a teenager. And I just can't buy that. Like, you can't
No.
tell me that a 13-year-old who read this over the summer for summer reading was like, and then they'll have pet play. Yes. Yes. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
I can't even begin to describe to you how stupid that is. That's like the justification of like, well, this is how I thought of it when I was a teenager. No, you didn't. First of all, liar. Second of all,
Right.
no, because like a teenager would be there.
A teenager is not having these thoughts.
No.
As someone who once was a teenager, that just wasn't crossing my mind.
And
dude.
if they are, they're not fully formed like that yet. Unless something's
Right.
gone very wrong in their life, like,
Right.
you got to build to that.
Right.
And it's like baby steps.
Right. I'm sure that there's some traumatic event where someone has thought of that at some point.
Or been like forced into that position
Right.
awfully,
Sure.
whatever. Like, this isn't, there's always exceptions to every rule.
Oh, exactly.
But on the whole, like, that's not realistic.
No.
That's not like, and the idea that like, I think that you could explore teen sexuality because the characters in this film are supposed to be kind of like on that edge, that coming of age moment. And I think you could explore that in a genuine way. And this does not.
No, I don't think it does at all.
And I think Frankenstein and Dracula do a better job of examining the like female gaze of monsters versus men and why women like the monstrous than this.
Yeah, and like you're saying, like the reason that I think that the monster narrative, it's like the monsters are the outcasts and stuff like that, and like that's kind of coming into play with that new Bride movie coming out.
Yeah.
And like I think that's really gonna like hammer it home with a lot of things, but this movie, like Heathcliff is supposed to be an outcast, but they don't even talk about class really at all. Like, it's later revealed that like class isn't even a motivating factor.
Well, a long-standing thought is that, so in the book, Kathy has an older brother who hates Heathcliff because the dad actually, like, he has his own problems, but he loves Heathcliff. And so it's not him that's abusing him. It's the son. But people have speculated that this dad, like, goes away on a business trip, finds this boy, and then loves him so much he names him after his dead son and like treats him like a son. And they're like, that doesn't seem realistic, but what could be realistic is that that's his illegitimate son and like his mother died or something, so he's bringing him home without like announcing it. And I think it's an interesting thought when you look at like Nellie in this movie being an illegitimate daughter and being brought to Wuthering Heights. It's like not out of the realm of possibility, but then it's a whole other like awful kettle of fish that they could be half siblings.
Yeah. It's one of those things where like if I were to take from what I know about the book from what I know about the book, even and like from the contemporary, what people have said about the contemporary parts of it and everything, I struggle to believe that people normally behaved like this or that this was a common occurrence.
And I mean, well,
I mean, in the same way that like there's always like there's weird people in society today, but guess what? It's weird.
yeah.
It's bizarre. You don't see it every day.
And to that end, Victorians were obsessed with morality, and this book was condemned because none of the characters were moral. And so, like, yeah, I think this was an outlier. And it's meant to be, like, shocking in a way that has you thinking about morality, I think.
I don't know how you could like this movie, and you can write me in the comments. Like,
I mean, there's a lot of, like, the book talk stuff that I don't know how people like either.
no, I agree.
So,
I agree wholeheartedly. And
you
like,
know what?
I will be the judgy person, and like in some ways I do think that people need to conform to some sort of thing, and maybe that's like my Catholic upbringing or something, but like that's
Yeah, you are very happy being judgy.
well, because like I'm not saying that there's a quote unquote proper way to behave necessarily, but like the weird stuff should stay weird. Sorry, I'll say it. Like the weird stuff should stay. If it hurt, like I said earlier, hurting people probably not good at any level. At any level, we probably shouldn't hurt people. And if you think that's crazy, like if you think that there's any point where you're like, actually, I think it's okay to hurt people, unless it's like self-defense because someone is hurting you, you're insane. You're insane. I'll say it. There you go.
I want to just like ask the question of what do you think this movie is about? Like not plot wise, but like what's the point of the movie? What does it boil down to?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I think the director thinks it's about like death and love, maybe.
Sure.
But I didn't get that.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. I feel like the movie is about like love, but it takes like and the mismatch of the book to the movie is the book is about revenge.
Sure.
And so when you get into this idea of like, I was listening to a couple different songs today, one being The Devil in Me by Skinny Lister, and then the other being Undressed by Somber. And I actually felt like those songs got a lot of the point of the story of Wuthering Heights across, where if you don't know The Devil in Me, it's sung by the female singer of Skinny Lister, and she's like, the devil in me will come to you and you'll pay the price for not being very nice. And there's this whole thing of like, you took something from me, so I'm taking it from you. And I felt like that was such that song is such a good representation of the way that Kathy and Heathcliff feel, even in the movie, of like love is a game in some ways that they're both unwilling to lose. They're unwilling to bend to make their love work. Are you following?
Okay.
You're looking a little like confused at me right now.
I'm just like, I'm seeing, yeah, I'm listening. I'm wanting your full idea. I'm following what you're saying.
Yeah. And so I was just like, oh, that to me gets the point across so well, that their love is like toxic, but toxic in a way where they're both playing a game that no one else in the room is playing. And they're kind of forcing everyone into playing the game. And especially after she dies in the book, Heathcliff makes it everyone's problem. He makes everyone a part of this like twisted plot for revenge and twisted game that he and Kathy, I think, established as kids and have been playing since they were children.
Okay.
And then the somber song where it's like, I don't want to get undressed with a new person all over again. And then there's a section where it's like, I don't want to see the eyes of like, oh my God, what is it? I don't want the children of another man to have the eyes of a girl I won't forget. So it's that's how it's phrased. And I feel like, especially because this movie doesn't pick up the second half of the novel, which does follow Kathy's daughter and Heathcliff's son, and then like the character that she cut, the brother's son. And it's a kind of a replaying of the love story of Kathy and Heathcliff, but with these, you know, the second generation, and the civilized man marries Kathy's daughter, but Kathy's daughter ends up being in love with the rough and tumble guy that's like a stand-in for Heathcliff, that Heathcliff has raised since he was a small child. And so there's a lot of symbolism there, and like they end up together. But I just felt like that was but I felt like that song really kind of spoke to the motivation of Heathcliff.
In the book or in the movie?
In the book. Because in the movie, he like, In the movie, I think what was one of the most like weird and disturbing bits was where he was like, I would find it enjoyable to fuck you while you're pregnant with someone else's kid to like get back at him. You know what I mean? Like that was like a really odd kind of like out of left field.
Yeah, I can't say I understood Heathcliff really at all in this movie. I mean, in a way I can. Like, I can understand his, like, well, I'm going to come back and be rich and try and win her over.
I think that what I'm trying to get at is, like, listening to those two songs, I was like, oh, like, that makes me understand these characters better than the movie did.
Oh, sure. But, I mean, I don't know. I keep getting back to my thing where I'm like, this is Wuthering Heights in name only. This has nothing to do with Wuthering Heights.
Well, and that is what a lot of people like online, even before it came out, have been saying.
Right.
And I recently saw someone talk about how visually this movie is stunning. Whether or not you like the visuals, it's arresting, which is true. Like the coloring of the movie, as we said, the cinematography is like one of the things that really
it's the only thing that holds it together.
Stands out in a positive way. And then I was watching an interview that Emerald Fennell did on like in the press junket, and she said that she really wants people to be able to watch her movies without sound and be able to see, like, to be able to follow the plot. And I just think that then that maybe does a disservice. Like, yes, there's an art and a craft to like silent film, but when we've kind of moved on and we've been able to have like more nuanced filmmaking because of use of sound and use of, you know, more than just the visual aspect of it, like the soundtrack. I think then you end up with things like this where it feels kind of gauche.
Yeah, I mean, my response to her is then make a silent movie.
Well, and a lot of people, I saw like 3 people talking about this where it's like, this would have been a great music video. A Wuthering Heights inspired music video with these visuals would have killed. And like to that, I think they're dead on.
Yeah.
And so it was interesting. I saw that. And then I saw her in an interview talking about how she wants people to be able to watch it without sound, which is the same thing. Like, do you know what I mean? I
saw someone talk about how it's really interesting how this movie's getting criticism for not being a loyal adaptation when male directors have been doing non-loyal adaptations for decades and no one's complained. I think
that's fair to say, but I think it's also fair to say that that's a marketing problem. This was marketed as an as like it felt like
as an adaptation.
Yeah, it wasn't like this is an inspired by, or this is my imagining of it. It only recently did she come out and be like, this is what I pictured it when I was 14. But I don't know. There is, I think because it's such a beloved text too, like a quintessential chick lit in some ways. I just think that there's different expectations. And that actually we'll come back to in a little bit with the Dear Maddie segment that we've got. But like, it really doesn't bother me so much when things veer from plot points, as long as it's true to the spirit of whatever their source material is.
Yeah, I see what you're saying that it's veered too much, basically.
Well, yeah, I think that like it's not covering the full range.
I just think it's really interesting that people are focusing so much on that, in my opinion, because I think like you can just there's so many complaints about the technique of filmmaking itself that are just bad, you know, like regardless of story. As someone who's never read it, this is shit, you know, it's not good.
Well, I think, yes, but I think it gets back to my point of it being in the spirit of the thing. Like, she's changed so much but yet still clearly tried to. You have kind of like a scale. You want to be on either end of the scale, where you have faithfully adapted something, or you've like changed it in an interpretation that adds something to the conversation around the source material.
Okay.
And I think that she's finding herself in the middle, where she's tried to keep it the same, but she changed just enough to like lose a lot of the importance and the impact of the text. And that's the problem.
I have finally found my correlation. Now that you've said it in that analogy, I have now found my correlation as a guy who grew up in the 2000s for how I understand this. And it's the Halo TV show.
Yes.
Yes, that is my interpretation. I understand what you're saying now, because it's like the Halo TV show is faithful in the sense of it's like the guys are there like doing things. The names are the same, but their characterizations and everything is so different. The timeline is so different. It's so unfaithful.
And so it's like at that point, why bother making it Halo? Make it your own thing, and that maybe could have legs.
Well, I think a really good example of like a counterpoint to that is The Last of Us.
Oh, I was gonna say Fallout.
But Fallout's really loyal. It's like a new story in the world, basically.
Yeah.
Which is what Halo should have been. But I was going to say The Last of Us, because like it's a retelling, but especially episode 3 of The Last of Us with Bill.
Oh, yeah.
And can't remember his name.
Yeah.
But that is completely different than in the game. Like in
is
the
it Frank?
Frank. Yeah, Bill and Frank. Yeah. You meet Bill in the game, and Frank has like killed himself basically.
Right.
And like Bill doesn't know that. It's not even explicitly said that they are gay. Like there's this whole thing, and like you go on this whole side mission with him, and he's like booby trapped. He's still like booby trapped to town, but it's like a really different thing. And in that one, it's like this tragic love story.
They took that and made it one of the most heartbreaking, beautiful episodes of TV.
It is.
They took like a 5-minute character segment from this video game and expanded it into a whole episode.
That's the thing that's crazy. It's like a 2-hour segment in the game, and they like condensed it and changed the story completely, but it's exactly how it was in the game at the same time.
Wow.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
Like that's the polar opposite.
I actually think that a good analogy for this movie is the early 2000s Logan Lerman, Percy Jackson.
Yeah.
Where you are trying to stay faithful, but you change just enough that you aren't really falling in that truthful, faithful adaptation, but you don't change it enough to make it its own thing.
Yeah, it's like that
and
awkward
so you're
middle ground.
in this awkward middle spot where people on either side are going to hate
happy.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah.
I can definitely see that.
And I think that like that's where the question of like, why do we make this? Did we make it just to see Jacob Elordi be like in a hot Regency period costume in the rain? Because if that's the case, like
in my opinion, yes. I think that's
why.
I
agree. And if that's the case, then yes, a music video is all we needed. Mm-hmm. And if it is to like add to the kind of understanding of it, or the like to bring the text into modern day with like the kind of the 50 Shades of it all, does it say anything important? Does it actually give any insight into what Emily Brontë was trying to say, or like what we've discovered since this book has come out? And I would say that it doesn't really do any of that. And so that's, I think, where this book is a head empty, no thoughts, pretty picture, but even the pretty picture are like only sometimes pretty. This does not make for a good airplane movie. Let me just put that out there.
No, it's actually a pretty bad airplane movie. I agree with everything you said. I'm very curious.
Well, I have one more thing. We were kind of shit talking the soundtrack. There is one song in there that I do really like, that I really thought didn't fit with the rest of the like heavy synth auto-tune Charlie XCX. And it was the one like ballad, the kind of Celt ballad like Dark-Eyed Soldier Boy or something like that.
Is that from the movie?
Yeah, hold on. It's when they are separate and when she's getting married. And then it comes back when he returns. I think it's the same song that plays.
Yeah.
I liked that song. I actually felt like that was one that if you and I had come across like in our Amble playlist or something, this would be one that we'd save.
It reminded me of some of the songs in House of Guinness.
Yeah, and I really liked the drone. It's so visceral. Right. Well, you and I are very susceptible to drones. But like the drone on top of the look of the moors, the desolate kind of like earthy thing, I just think that works really well.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, like we talked about how silly it was, I think I'm going to die in this house. But I kind of wish that the soundtrack had been more of that. I guess I understand the whole, like, it really stuck out because this was one of the only instances where you got more of an authentic song. But
I don't know, man.
It's more up my alley.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I agree.
What more to say, really? What more to say?
Let's listen to our Dear Maddie that we have. If you have a Dear Maddie, everyone, submit it. You can...
And a Dear Maddie, as we've said before, does not necessarily have to be a question. If you saw Wuthering Heights and you're like, holy shit, I have something to say, we want to hear it.
Yeah.
We want to know what your thoughts were. This is a dialogue.
Leave us a comment on any platform. I see them all.
We're always looking.
You're always watching. We are the what is
the
it?
The elf on the shelf.
No, what's it called?
The panopticon.
Yeah, we're the panopticon. So we are the panopticon. So write to us, let us know what you thought, and we'll feature you in the next episode. Even if it's just a comment, if you know us, you can write us a voice memo. Eventually, I will have a way where you can like submit.
We're maybe working on a website. We're not sure.
We don't know.
But also, in case you were curious, because we couldn't play that last song, it's Dark-Eyed Sailor by Olivia Chaney.
There you go.
Hi, everyone. Longtime listener, first-time caller. I'm Claire. I have 3 questions. My first is, what movie do you think wasn't necessarily the best made movie in the world, but one of your favorites, or like you can watch it all the time? For example, mine is Aquamarine. I don't think that's the best movie in the whole world, but it's one of my favorite movies, and I find great pleasure in it. Second, what are some of your favorite, like, culturally significant cinema moments? For example, you mentioned Barbie, Oppenheimer, or something of that effect that you really enjoyed, like even something like Marvel. And then my third and final is, what's your favorite book adapted screenplay, or like cinema in general, in lieu of Wuthering Heights coming out to screen? Thanks, guys. Keep it up. Love the pod.
Just as a recap, so just in case you can't hear anything, Claire asked...
Longtime listener, first-time caller, Claire.
Yeah, longtime listener in my life. Basically asked what was the first question?
Yes, and see, this is why I took a screenshot of the transcript.
Mm-hmm.
So her first question is, what movie do you think isn't necessarily the best movie in the world, but it's one of your favorites that you can watch all of the time? Hers is Aquamarine, which we love at the And Rolling Pod. That's a fan favorite for me and my sisters, and I would say your brother as well.
I don't know if I'm a big fan of Aquamarine.
Well, you should be.
I think I was forced to watch a lot of Aquamarine.
I found 2 new men to love, and their names are Ben and Jerry.
Mm-hmm. What was the second question?
Well, do we want to answer this one and then get into the second
No, I
one?
want to do it all for editing purposes.
So the second is, what are some of your favorite culturally significant cinema moments? Mm-hmm. Because we mentioned Barbenheimer, so that was Barbie, Oppenheimer, or something to that effect that we really enjoyed, and it could be something like Marvel, or
yeah.
And then third is, what's our favorite book adapted screenplay or cinema in general, because Wuthering Heights is an adaptation of a book.
Yes. Okay, so question number 1, what's your movie?
Well, And I hesitate to like say that this is poorly made, but it is super low budget, and it would be Strictly Ballroom by Baz Luhrmann.
Oh.
I don't think it's poorly made, but it's a low budget and nobody really knows about it.
You can feel it as being low budget.
It's very low budget.
Yeah.
And I love that movie. I watch it over and over. I actually just bought a physical copy at the thrift store last week. So
it was like a special edition too.
Yeah, super excited to crack that bad boy open and watch the super excited to crack that bad boy open and watch the special features.
Yes. I'm trying to think of one for me specifically because I'm not a big like rewatcher of movies, especially as I've gotten older. But I think that if I had to pick like one where I'm like, this is actually not very good, it might be, and not like it's bad, but like I actually think that the more you watch Star Wars Episode 4, the more you realize it's actually not very good.
Yeah. That is like a yeah.
Like,
no, I fully
you know what
believe,
I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, it looks a little more
low
budget.
See it now, you'd be like, ooh.
Yeah.
What?
And especially like Luke. Wow, dude. Like he's
acting is a strong word for what's happening there.
Yeah, Luke is really rough, and
Uncle Owen,
I want to go to Toshi Station and pick up some power converters. Yeah.
Oh my God, Luke, are you with us right now?
Exactly.
He's so whiny.
And I'm
to that end, I feel the same way about Phantom Menace. I do love Phantom Menace, mostly for Qui-Gon Jinn and Padme Amidala.
Yeah.
I also feel the same way with What About Bob?
Okay.
That I think is kind of a niche movie that again isn't like very well loved, but I love it.
Yeah.
And also, and again, I don't think, for this one in particular, I don't think there's anything about this movie that's made poorly, but it's just a lower budget, and so less people know about it. Stardust.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think, you know what movie's fire? Secondhand Lions.
Oh, but that's a beloved movie. I feel like everybody loves that movie.
No one knows about that movie. I know if 100 people walking on the street, maybe 10. Maybe. Secondhand Lions is not a well-known film. You are the only person, that and Olive are the only, like, you are the only person that I know who knows both of those movies.
All right.
Or like who I first met who knew both those movies. I think like maybe Ryan knew Secondhand Lions.
I was going to say, I feel like a lot of people I knew Secondhand Lions, but maybe that was just like, it was a Brethren movie. You know, like.
It's so
you know what I mean?
Coded,
like,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was just the niche cultural.
I could see that. Yeah.
There were a couple of things like that were niche to the group that I grew up with.
Yeah. And then the cultural moments.
Yeah. So, the next one, the cultural moments. I mean, I was a big Harry Potter fan almost immediately growing up.
Yeah.
Like we read the first book when the first movie came out. So you're talking like 2000, 2001.
Yeah.
And I've been a big fan ever since. So we started going to the midnight premieres as soon as they started.
I was going to say Harry Potter's like a real big bastion. In my opinion.
It was like definitive. Like it was so fun.
Yeah.
You'd have like people at the front of the theater playing Quidditch before it started. Everyone was dressing up. I remember one time a woman walked through the whole theater, and for whatever reason she like stuck out to me, and she was walking and like looking around in this really dark, mysterious way, like really giving you crazy eyes. And she gets up to the top of the theater and goes, "I killed Sirius Black," and then ran out, and it's
really weird.
Yeah, it was just fun. Like crazy moments like that. They did a lot of really cool things. Actually, I have like a little collection from back in the day of like movie popcorn buckets before they became like crazy what they are now. And I have a couple that are just like the movie poster kind of like graphic design fade into all of the different characters from Harry Potter 2.
Yeah.
And in that vein, I mean, Twilight and the Hunger Games. My mom used to let us go, even on school nights. My friend Katie and I, we'd go to all of the midnight premieres, and her thing was like, you can go and Katie can sleep over, but you have to both go to school in the morning.
Yeah, and I think that those weren't as big, in my opinion, as Harry Potter.
The first Twilight was on par with Harry Potter. Like, I remember that being a crazy moment.
Yeah, but I don't think they have the same pull.
No, and
culturally.
I think they were only doing it because of the Harry Potter success. But it did taper down, certainly for the Hunger Games and for the last bit of. I mean, to the point where you're starting movies then at 8 p.m. and it's like, no, I want to start at midnight. I want the hype of it being
like
that
crap.
It's New Year's Eve, you know.
I think that the the first Avengers and Endgame kind of hit some of that a little bit, where they were like big cultural phenomenons a little bit.
Not in this house, they weren't.
No, but
not for moi.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like like people were talking about it. Like people were excited to go see it.
The other thing I remember having a big moment was Little Women, Greta Gerwig's Little Women.
Yeah.
And that was like, of course, very skewed to the female audience. But I remember going and like. Isabel and I snuck in like little mini bottles of champagne and tissues, and we were surrounded by all of these book clubs that were going together. It was really sweet.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that cinema phenomenons are not really the same as they were. Like I would argue
Barbenheimer was maybe the first to like kind of get back to the excitement of the movies.
And like even then, like I would argue that like Stranger Things has the same cultural, like the Stranger Things season 5 finale lineup thing had the same cultural phenomenon pull as Barbenheimer.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like expressed in a completely different way because
it's
of TikTok
TV
and
now.
social media.
Like when you look at like the Bridgerton parties, like people were throwing little like themed parties for the release of season 3 and stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, Claire, to answer your question, for me, it has to be Harry Potter.
I think that's the obvious choice.
Yeah, and I mean, the Harry Potter world, like it wasn't just the movie releases either. The book releases had midnight drops that were very similar.
I will say that I'm sure that Ryan will be very upset with me if I don't mention Lord of the Rings. Like kind of the same vibe.
Yeah.
You know, fantasy, but for guys. Not like Harry Potter wasn't for guys, but you know what I mean.
For the girls and gays only.
Yeah,
much to the chagrin of J.K. Rowling.
Yeah. But kind of the same vibe, but like an older crowd, obviously. So, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I never went to see those in theater.
I saw the Hobbits.
Oh,
when they first came
I
out.
don't really. Yeah, I'm thinking of the original trilogy.
Yeah, I mean the Hobbit.
Because those came out, we were pretty young when those came out.
01, 02, 03.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And that kind of, I don't think they were doing the midnight premieres for Harry Potter at that point. They didn't for the first one. I don't think they did for the second. The first one that I vividly remember is for Goblet of Fire, which is number 4.
Yeah. And like I remember Deathly Hallows being a big deal. So.
Oh, that was a huge deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the third question, when I saw this come through earlier today, I was like, oh my God, that's such an impossible question. But as I thought about it, because initially the question that she sent first, because we had a technical difficulty, so she had to resend. The first version of this question was like, what do you think is a good book adaptation? Mm-hmm. And for that, I think it's the Da Vinci Code.
Okay. I've never seen the Da Vinci Code, actually.
I thought we watched it together.
We started and then we stopped for some reason and we never finished it. So I kind of was like, do I really care after he started beating himself with a whip?
Oh, yeah, that part.
And I was like...
Silas is a wonky-ass character, but he is like that in the book. Like, true. It's true to the book.
Yeah.
I actually think that you'd like the Da Vinci Code as like a fun Indiana Jones-esque...
Yeah.
With more religious overtones, obviously.
Yeah.
But what's your take?
Well, I actually think there's been more good book adaptations as of recently than bad, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I actually think that the Dune adaptations were really good and kind of did the impossible. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Because if you read the Dune books, you're like,
No,
whoa.
you're like, what is happening?
And if you watch the first movie by itself is bad, but like especially if you're like into the books.
The first movie is in the 80s movies?
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because I thought you meant the Dune Part 1. I was like, I thought that movie was pretty good.
No, not Dune Part 1.
Okay.
But then, and like sci-fi did an adaptation of it that was like considered the best, and even then. Because it's a low-budget sci-fi movie, you know?
Yeah.
And they just don't do a good job in that sense. But they did then adapt Dune Messiah and Children of Dune, which is crazy. So, which we're getting later this year. So not Children of Dune.
Is
Dune
Timmy
Messiah.
in that one?
Dune
later
Messiah?
This year?
Yeah. So Dune Messiah is about Paul's like war in taking over the empire, and then like the political fallout from that, and his like mental breakdown from it.
Right. When does his son turn into a worm?
He begins to do that in the third book, and then he fully becomes a worm in the fourth book.
Sick.
So that is God. Is that God Emperor? I think it's God Emperor Dune. Is that one?
Nice.
So
nice.
Yeah. So
okay.
There you go.
Things to look forward to.
Well, and Denis Villeneuve said that he's not going to do 3 or 4. Like he said after 2, it becomes impossible to adapt on the screen.
Yeah, and
so
that feels fair.
But I'm sure that Warner Brothers is sitting there being like, money. So we'll see what happens.
Well, I mean, they've already made that spin-off show about the Bene Gesserit.
Yeah, they did. And that's based off of like prequel books that Frank Herbert's son, Brian Herbert, wrote and stuff like that. But I thought that that was a really good adaptation. I mean, the Lord of the Rings books, once again.
Yeah.
Incredible adaptations.
I think the Harry Potter books are pretty good adaptations as well.
Yeah, I would agree. You can watch them and not read the books. And I think, like, at the time, people were like, it's not blah, 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 blah. But, like, looking back on it, I'm like, guys, they had 2 hours to put 500 pages into this.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, to your point, there's a lot, and there are some that are, as we kind of said last time, nothing like the movie, but still enjoyable. Like Ella Enchanted is very different from the book. It's far campier, and it works. Yeah. And then Stardust, also different from that book, but it works for me. I really like that. Yeah. Yeah, so I think that there have been a lot of good ones, and there's also been a lot of good TV adaptations. Like I think about the Percy Jackson show that's happening right now, and even Bridgerton. I read the books after because I started watching the show first, so I have like a kind of a unique schedule there. But I've been pretty happy with the show versus the books.
I will die on this hill.
Please.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with Johnny Depp.
That's actually a much better
adaptation than Willy Wonka. But all of these delusional boomers are like, Willy Wonka's better. Willy Wonka's better. I'm like, first off, have you seen the movie? Because it's garbage and lasts forever where nothing happens. And number 2, it's nothing like the book.
To that end, Matilda is very different in style because it's American in the movie and British in the book, but both are delightful in my opinion.
Dude, Matilda is some top tier movie making. Danny DeVito knows what's up.
He does.
Yeah.
He does.
He's really good.
Ugh.
So
great movie.
I don't know what It's Always Sunny's going to do when he dies. I think the only reason...
Is that show still on?
It's the longest running sitcom of all time.
I thought it ended in like 2015.
No, it's like going. Charlie Day has said that he's
Isn't that girl on a new show? Is she doing both?
Yeah.
Oh.
The Charlie Day has said that he's pretty sure that FX doesn't know that they're still on the air, and they just keep. They're like in the
FX
system.
and I have that in common.
They're just like in the system, and they just keep going. No, like It's Always Sunny is still out.
There's like one exec who's like, over my dead body, are you killing It's Always Sunny?
I love him because It's Always Sunny is
and it is a man. It is a man.
Oh, 100% it's a man. It's a fire show. It's like It's Always Sunny is top tier television. as far as I'm concerned. Top tier television that just outputs memes left and right. It's good stuff. So, and then they've even become like self-aware and started making some fun of themselves now.
Wow.
Which is really funny. Like they had a whole gun debate episode where it's like the joke is that they switch sides and everything. And then what really happens is Frank is the one like making money off of everyone. And then they flip it around where they do it again. And they're like, I feel like we've done this again. And like, it's like almost the whole episode exactly the same. Except then they try and screw over Frank, basically, if I remember correctly. So, but that's like a season 20 episode compared
season 20
compared to like a season 3.
Oh my god.
I'm pretty sure. I wonder how many seasons they have.
That's crazy.
No, it's so awesome. The seasons of It's Always Sunny. They're on season 17.
Jesus Christ.
Season 17 aired August 2025. Renewed through a record-breaking 18th season. So, which will release. Oh, it's releasing right now. So, there you go.
Well,
now you know.
There's a couple other, like The Martian is an adaptation, and that's a great movie.
Great adaptation.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah.
So there's just a lot out there.
Martian was really good.
It'd be fun to make some lists if we are going to follow through with the website idea and just put some lists up there like that.
Yeah. The Martian was the first movie I saw like by myself.
In theaters?
Yeah. Because
Nice.
I really wanted to see it, and I was at the Paul, and I was like,
I think I had been to movies by myself in high school, but my first movie in college by myself was Gone Girl.
Wow.
Yeah, strong.
Okay.
Strong. That also a great adaptation of a book.
I liked Gone Girl a lot. Gone Girl is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big fan.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen it after I watched it for the first time. So
I think I've seen it maybe 2 or 3 times.
yeah, it's one of those movies that I'm like, it'd be
I really love
interesting to
Rosamund
rewatch.
Pike in it.
She's
She's
good.
so good.
She's so good.
And like the range between her as Pride and Prejudice, which another great adaptation. I mean, maybe one of the tops in my opinion. One where again, like you aren't being so faithful to the book that like every character is saying every line, but one where you get the intent across.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. So, good stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So going back to the thing about casting for this movie, and I think maybe if you want to move it to where we talk about casting.
I don't know how I'm going to edit this podcast. I'm going to be really honest. There's going to be a lot of I feel like there's going to be a lot of topic repeats throughout this, but
hey,
it's the way it is.
This is more of like a first impressions podcast than anything else.
I know.
Mean, we don't really come with any kind of, in case you haven't noticed, we don't really come with notes most of the time. We're just kind of chatting after seeing it. It really is just like first impressions.
Yeah.
I think that I want to make sure that I get my point across here with the casting, which is that like I didn't mind the performances from any one person, but I think that Emerald Fennell has like a problem that we saw also in Saltburn, where she doesn't look at things in the context of our racial, geopolitical, the now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I do know
Like,
what you're saying.
Saltburn, she casts an Irish man as this like really devious antagonist who's only out to get money and transactional, and then makes this British aristocratic family, although they're eccentric, she wants them to be people that you root for.
Yeah.
Which just ignores a lot of like systems of oppression. And I think that's repeated here, where on the nose of it, did I hate Margot Robbie or Jacob Elordi's performances? No. And if this were a different period drama where they're just playing out angsty, yearny people, I could be very into it. Mm-hmm. But the fact is there's like a historical context here that the Lintons are supposed to be the beauty standard, which I know I said earlier. And so then to flip it feels really negligent and just kind of tone deaf. And then to especially, again, on the face of it, I think that Ellen deserves a lot of flack, especially in the novel. But to make her the only main antagonist in this, but to also flip her race to make her Asian, just feels like calculated or like willfully negligent.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I think that there is some. I've been seeing people talk about that.
Yeah, I just don't know that I articulated it well. So perhaps in that section, if this makes more sense than that section, just like flip flop them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, or I might just do both. So then we get a people understand the thought process or something.
Yeah, that's fair.
So,
and I think that like colorblind casting is kind of not in vogue right now because it ignores the implications of how race is perceived and experienced, and like how it impacts how you move through the world. I remember in a lit class once I had a professor say that to the British version of race is class. Like in terms of when you're looking at literature, American literature, race is going to be this big thing that feels insurmountable. Like it's really hard to move between racial divides in historic America, right? And then she said that that's the same thing with British people, but with class. And I think that there's a lot of truth in that, certainly. You know, like I don't think she was saying it to be misleading or to be dismissive, but I also think that like race certainly isn't something that you can ignore in British society either. Like that's still, and I think we've seen it play out with Meghan Markle, right, in the press and public opinion about her being a black woman. And so I think that at that time we were in, like when I was hearing that from a professor, we were still in like the Hope Corps Obama era. Yeah. And just very different. I don't think that she would say that now. And I think that this is a good example of how that's not true, how it's class and race. It's intersectional. It's all of these things, gender, class, race, that combine to inform how you see the world, but how the world responds to you. And I guess going back to why I think this adaptation is fluffy and like unnecessary and just a thirst trap is that it ignores that that's a big part of what the book is trying to talk about, and it's not just that Heathcliff is poor, it's that he's a person of color, that she feels like she can't be with him. And it, like, to take that away, especially in this moment where there is so much racial tension. I don't want to say divides because I don't really know that it's a divide, and like, who am I as a white woman to say that, oh, we're racially divided? Like, I don't see 99% of it probably. Yeah. But just to like ignore that feels out of touch with the current moment, and ignoring an opportunity to explore, to use this novel as a way of exploring what's happening today.
Yeah, kind of touching a bit on your on the race thing and stuff. Like, I see what she's kind of saying about class and stuff, like, because I think as Americans, like, I don't think Americans understand how white Europe is, like, statistically speaking. Like, it is white. Like, you're talking like 98% or something like that. Like, it's a crazy number. And like, but there's a lot of issues with race in Europe. Like,
right. And they act like there isn't.
Right. And I think it's really interesting. The UK is an interesting example where there is a lot of multiculturalism, and it's far more accepted in the culture compared to other parts of Europe. And I think that's because of like the empire and stuff like that. And
it certainly is. I mean,
and like the need for labor and stuff.
Well, and let's not get it twisted. General. The reason that people think that Heathcliff might be a black man is because of the slave
Right.
trade that was happening in Liverpool.
Right.
Like, let's not, I don't think you were trying to like sugarcoat by like
No.
saying the need for labor, but like, let's be explicit. It's not
Well,
just
I was
sourcing.
saying need of labor in like modern times.
I know, but
know
I
what you're
want to
saying.
be like very
Yeah,
clear
yeah.
that like that could be taken as an innuendo or like a you know.
I know
not-
what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. But well, like, because one of the weird things, like, as an American, for me, this is like a bizarre cultural thing for me. This was the most culture shock that I've had being abroad ever. Was I was walking around Berlin, and it was disturbing to me how many white people there were. Like, it actually threw me off. I was like, what the hell is this? It was really weird. And even someone who came from a pretty white part of
I
America.
was like, and that's crazy because you come from Fishers, Indiana.
Right. Yeah, a pretty white part of America where it's like, oh yeah, but like you would see people of different races pretty regularly throughout your day. And like in Europe, it was like it took me like a full day, and then I finally saw someone who was a different race, and I was like, crazy. Like, that's actually crazy. And it kind of blows my mind when especially, well, it blows my mind in as an American. It's really weird when I see like Europeans being like cultural assimilation and blah 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 blah. Like, I find that stuff in general to be weird, and I know that Americans complain about it, but like even the level of acceptance that most Americans have like far outweighs the level of prejudice that a lot of Europeans have towards that stuff. And like that, like you're saying, it wasn't touched on in the movie at all. It was never a part of it.
And Emerald Fennell is British, you know, like she
Right.
and from her accent, at least, she seems to be very upper class.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very possible that this just never like entered her thought process, but that feels like poorly done research and poorly done interacting with the world around you.
Yeah, this whole
And this is where it becomes a real problem that she that the guy playing Linton, he could be Heathcliff, like racially. That's kind of what generally people are like, this is so weird that you decide to cast a white Heathcliff, and then you cast Linton, who is supposed to be this kind of like, especially in this movie, like he seems kind of meek. He doesn't seem like a strong character.
Yeah.
And that's where all of these kind of things that you could maybe write off as coincidence, when they keep adding up, it certainly paints a picture of like where she stands.
Yeah, I mean, I could even see like Heathcliff, maybe she meant for him to be like Sicilian or something like that, you know, or like
I recently saw someone suggest that she sees Jacob Elordi as a person of color because he's Australian.
I could see that because like the way that racism it has developed and like prejudice has developed in the United States is like, pardon the pun, very black and white in a lot of ways.
Right.
And there's not a lot. It's like you're this or you're this. And in
Europe, there's like,
oh, dude,
lots of different.
Really
are
weird.
You Eastern European?
Yeah.
Are you from the Mediterranean?
Yes.
Are you too far south in the
Yeah.
Mediterranean?
Right. And like,
It's very like America, turn of the century. Like Irish and Italians aren't white people.
Yeah. No, it's still, there's a lot of those vibes in Europe.
Yeah.
And like any European denying that is an idiot.
And I think that's why
So-
it was so funny. Is like it was totally believable that maybe that
I
is
could totally
what's
see
going on.
that. I could totally see that.
And it's clear that they've tanned him up quite a bit in this.
Do you think they did?
He seemed.
I haven't.
He seemed way tanner than like Kissing Booth and Saltburn,
let me
which
tell
are
you,
the only other things. Well, Frankenstein, but obviously he was like
I was like
pasty in
the
that.
only other thing I've seen this man in is Frankenstein.
And
so I
he
feel
was
like I don't
maybe
have a good
supposed to be like
comparison.
deathly pale.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do. I mean, I could be totally wrong, but because I'm not like a Jacob Elordi stan. But in the two other things besides Frankenstein that I've seen him in, I felt like he was paler. But in Saltburn, he plays Rosamund Pike's son. He's like an upper crust guy at Oxford. So that could be intentional.
It totally could be. I could see it. So
yeah, I don't know. It's not enjoyable. That's really where I'm landing. And if you like it, that's great. I love that for you.
yeah,
I didn't.
yeah. I mean, I'll be the judgy Victorian. Like, I'll be like, I think you're crazy for liking this movie. Sorry.